Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready?
Give it to me. Hit it.
I saw you were with them last night. I saw you were with them last night. Don't burn the bridge, burn the paper.
Yeah, that's Don't Burn the Bridge, Burn the Paper by Engaging Time, coming to a venue near you at someplace in the Chicago metro area, and also parts of Maryville and Hobart, Indiana, and maybe some Wisconsin too, Sean. Once I get through this chaos called open enrollment, we're going to do a lot more music stuff, just as a separate matter, but definitely related. Next week, I'm going to be recording a 4-minute show, a 4-minute song called Lord You Blow Me Away, and then a 90-second version. And the 90-second version we're going to upload to Americans Got Talent. We'll see what happens. I don't know if Sean's still there or not. Hello? Hello? Well, this is 101.5.
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry, Bill. I was saying, wow, you're moving to bright lights in big city.
Well, we'll see. You know, I'm excited about this. I can tell you, I practice the song every day. I actually love this song. I really do. My wife I love my wife dearly, but she's probably sick of it. I understand that, but you know, as you probably know, and Kelly knows, you don't get good playing the song just once. You got to play it 100 times before it becomes muscle memory. And I've been messing with some of the vocals and some of the chord runs and stuff like that, but I like where it's ended up. And we'll see. Somebody asked me about this several weeks ago, and I'm like, no, I'm too old for this. No, what's the harm? And I'm like, you're not wrong. And then I thought to myself, the guy who just won it was 56-year-old janitor from Terre Haute, Indiana. So I'm like, what the heck? You know, what do I have to lose? If they say no, then at least I tried. If they say yes, I got a shot. If I don't do anything, it's a guaranteed no. So, so we'll see what happens. And then a separate matter, my social media director, Mandy, reached out to me last week, and she said, I don't know if you know this or not, but Spotify is looking for guitar-related music. No vocals, just guitar. And you've got a ton of material that you could do a 10, song CD kind of thing and make that work. So we're taking that under advisement. I just have to get through the next couple of weeks of this chaos that I'm going through. Yeah, so kind of exciting. Sean can say, I knew him when.
Yeah, one of these days I'm going to be probably having to buy tickets at Ticketmaster because Bill will be starring in Vegas, and
well,
I'll be on road, Triple Z in the background, facing the wall.
Just, Sean, if I get lucky enough to do that kind of thing, and maybe it's in the cards, maybe it's in the stars, maybe I just get lucky. But if I get lucky, just call me and I'll make sure you get really good seats.
Okay, all right. I'm going to hold you. All our listeners heard you say that.
Yes.
I'll scalp them. Don't worry. I'll put them up.
It's at 6:39 on December 10th, 2024, and I basically just did a quid pro quo with Sean. He just doesn't know where he's going to sit. That's all. I didn't say where he's going to sit. I just told him I get tickets.
Who knows what the venue is? If you're at the what is it they call it, the Lake County Animal Shelter and amphitheater. Maybe I won't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that.
You're overlooking the mucking stall or something like that. I'll pass.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, no.
Who knows?
Kind of related though, the place that I go to do open mic stuff, they actually have a Christian label coming to that place to observe a bunch of the musicians. and I probably have 4 or 5 Christian songs under my arm right now. And so the guy who runs the place called me and he said, are you able to do this? Because you need to be here. And I'm like, oh man, you're talking Friday at 3:30. I can't do that. I'm in the middle of work. I said, what other time's available? He said 10:30. I'm like, really? I'm like, all right, well, we'll do the 10:30, but if something earlier comes up after 6, I'm open. So, so I've got 3 or 4 Christian songs that I can play for these guys, and like I said, this song, Lord, You Blow Me Away, this song has got potential, I think. I really like it. So we'll see what happens. Welcome back, everybody. This is 101.5 FM, WLCB, Slade's Corner, Wisconsin. Sean Hauser, coming from the bunkers somewhere in Dayton, is online after being on assignment, as we like to say, for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And frankly, I've been busy too. So we've been talking about a commercial that really, I'm more tame now, Sean, than I was when I first saw this. I was out of my mind angry because these kind of commercials that I see cater to the very dynamic of the person they're trying to get to call. And that's all they're trying to do is get you to call, like you said before. And I understand the numbers, I get it, but there have been commercials that have been taken off the air for the same dynamic that this commercial pushed a $4 premium, when that policy does not exist in real life. It just doesn't.
Did they disclaim it at all? I mean, you know how you see, like, oh, God, in the political season that just ended, they'd be like, and he said this on the Senate floor, but the date on it was like 1987, right? So, but, I mean, did they have to give a disclaimer or qualify it at all, or did they just go out and let it fly?
If they did, it was in that white kind of icon crap that they put at the bottom that you see all for about 10 seconds, if that. Gotcha. So, I'm sure they had something there that gives them their get-out-of-jail-free card. It's kind of like when the media has to put their tail between their legs and do a disclaimer. They put it on page 92 in some footnote on the in the middle of the advertisement section to say, look, we had our quid pro quo. There's our apology. Oh, great. You were front page news, when it happened, and then when you found out you had egg on your face, you buried it somewhere and said that's our apology. That's a chicken you-know-what way to go. And it just bothered the crap out of me to the point where it's like, this is not going to stand anymore. So I mentioned, and I tell this to my kids all the time, if you come to me with a problem and you just want to moan and groan and don't want to do anything, I'm not really sure. I'll listen, but I'm not going to have a lot of patience unless you give me some kind of a solution to the problem. So you've heard me say for a long time, this healthcare industry, and it's an industry. It's not just hospitals and doctors. It's labs, it's x-ray, it's technicians, it's the white-collar guys, it's the C-suite guys and the insurance companies. It's the clerk processing your claim. It's the sales guy who has to go out and sell these products to either a corporation or the salespeople that work for the insurance company. They have to go out and talk to people like me, trying to sell their products, etc. To some degree, it's an order-taking process. I don't like that because this is not an order-taking operation. There's too many moving parts now to make it just order-taking. But have a solution to the problem. Now, imagine an octopus with 100 legs, Sean, and you've been given a really sharp knife, and you said, go destroy the healthcare system. It's that octopus out there with 100 legs. And you start chopping away, and you cut off 4 or 5 of their legs, but they get 95 legs still whacking you. And what you didn't know is the 4 or 5 legs you just cut off are growing back, and they now might be stronger because you didn't hit them the right way. You didn't eliminate them. That's how big the healthcare industry is. You got middlemen all over the place. Big Pharma is a big player, huge player. In fact, pharmacy by itself, folks, is roughly 35 to 40% of your claim activity. And anything you see on TV, add 3 zeros to whatever you're seeing on TV. Those are drugs that are non-preferred drugs or specialty drugs, and you can't just walk to your doctor or pharmacy and say, give me that XYZ prescription that I saw on TV. It doesn't work that way. So let me suggest a few things. Let the insurance companies underwrite. Have a guarantee issue product that if you're bad risk, you have a place to go. Can't be denied. Cannot. Have a place to go. If you got a really bad risk, and some companies, Sean, have just bad luck. They have a bunch of either older people or sick people, and they can't get rid of them because of whatever the reasons. So they need help. And then for the groups that are more healthy, let the underwriting process go. Let it go through. And in fact, we're kind of there right now in the group space. You've got carriers, the big behemoth companies have guarantee issue products, and then some of those companies and others have underwritten products that you have to get through underwriting to get their product. And if you clear underwriting, Sean, some of these products will give you half your premium back if you have a good year. That's a good deal. If the insurance companies can do that in the group marketplace, do that in the individual marketplace too. I just did an application for a doctor client of mine, and I think Joe is 37 years old. He bought an HSA plan. How much do you think for a 37-year-old in an HSA plan? I'll give you the deductible. It's $4,500. How much do you think that was, Sean? Any guess?
About $1,000 a month?
No, not quite. It's about half that. About $500.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, $514. Now, you know what his comment was? This is a ripoff. This is a ripoff. Now, he's a physician, but he's just starting out. He doesn't make that much money. And he's independent, so, he's not hand-to-mouth, but he's got to hustle. He's got to have patients to see in order to make his monthly nut every month. So it's not that simple. But his comment was, that's a ripoff. Now I have another client, also a physician, who his spouse is, I think she's 59 or 58 years old. Her premiums are over $1,000 a month for a similar plan. So 20 years later, it goes from 500 to 1,000. And that person has been a client of mine for a long time, and he texted me, he said, find me something that's, quote, reasonable, unquote. Well, I'm at the mercy of whatever the market gives me. And it's not just me. You line up 100 other guys behind me. They're all going to give you the same number. There's nobody that's going to be different. Now, if you want to go off the grid and go to these Christian-based programs or these crowd share kind of programs, knock yourself out. Good luck. I'm not going to say they don't work or work, but they're not guaranteed to pay anything. There's a promise to pay, but it's not guaranteed to pay. And a lot of those things have pre-existing condition limitations, oh, by the way, that the health insurance companies don't have to, can't do. For example, there's one Christian ministry program out there. I've actually called them on my behalf. They won't cover any prescriptions at all if it's for maintenance, like for blood pressure or diabetes or whatever. They have a 3-year pre-existing condition clause. They won't cover you at all for any pre-existings. And then after the 3 years, then they give you a separate deductible for that. They don't tell you that on the commercial either.
And I'm assuming these are all moves to limit their risk
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm not saying they don't work, but you have to have your eyes wide open. Premiums don't pay claims. Contracts do. You have to know what you're buying. And so if the insurance companies were allowed to underwrite and then given some freedom to go to bigger deductibles. I've got some clients, Sean, that want $20,000 deductibles. I can't sell them. They don't exist. And some people might go, go ahead.
They're doing that just because they want to lower the higher the deductible, the lower the premium.
Exactly. It's just no different than, auto insurance. If you have a zero deductible for collision, you're going to pay a premium. If you're going to, a high price, if you're going to buy a $1,000 deductible, your premiums are going to drop fairly significantly. And most people are fairly healthy, as like in the auto insurance world, most people don't have collision or car accidents, but they can afford $1,000 or $2,000 deductible if their car is in a wreck. And they're willing to take that risk. Well, for those people that can afford a $20,000 deductible, why not let them buy it? The insurance company, the likelihood of the insurance company paying out anything for that person is slim to none unless there's a catastrophic situation. They'll make a fortune on those kind of products. And there's lots of people out there that will buy them. But the government... Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't the plan because the catastrophic coverage? So they figure they either have the wherewithal to cover the day-to-day and the maintenance things, but
right.
They're looking to protect for, I need kidney transplant or something like that.
Yeah, big stuff. Accidents, heart attack, stroke, things that are going to catastrophically, bend you over if you get hurt or sick. And with people that have the means to have a $2,000 or $20,000 deductible, let them have it. Let them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let me add one other thing to this. Let people, assuming they're going to get help, and honestly, this is maybe selfish on my part, but I'm not the only broker in the country. There's thousands of us out there. Let them build their policy the way they want. If they don't want maternity, don't put it in. If they don't want mental health, let them keep it out. I would say that if they're going to do that, they can't just go to 1-800 number without talking to a licensed salesperson who can help them understand what they're buying, because people, frankly, don't know what they're buying. They're buying a premium. They never understand the moving parts, or very rarely, until they have to use it. And all of a sudden, they get educated, and now they understand and like, oh, now I know what you're talking about. They didn't listen when nothing was happening.
But they couldn't do that. I mean, I think it sounds great. Like, I'm 54 years old, so I'm pretty sure I don't need to worry about maternity.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of us do. I want to put on cardiac care and blood pressure and cholesterol and all that kind of stuff. But if they started to allow you to pick and choose the coverages that you wanted, one, it seems like there would be like this big opportunity for a gap that nothing really fits in this bucket or that bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Or for those, my company is paying for my insurance, and it's, because I would have maternity care and mental health care, which, I'm not using or anything. But if they weren't paying on my behalf, then somebody who did enroll who needed that coverage, it would just create a much higher premium for them because there's much fewer people paying into the pool for mental health care coverage. So if they had expenses, they'd have to cover it.
Yeah. So let me just be clear. This idea is for the individual market, not for the group market. Because yeah, but you're not wrong. So start with a baseline and then figure out how to plug the holes if you have to plug the holes. You're not wrong about the idea that if I want a basic plan that's going to cover hospital, doctor, prescription, and surgeries and those kind of things, and I don't want the rest of the fluff. My premiums are going to be cheaper than somebody says, I want everything. I want maternity, I want chiro, I want PT, OT, speech, I want mental health, I want a fully robust health plan. They're paying for more than the person who wants a limited policy. What I'm suggesting is you want to get the cost of health care is still out of control. I've been talking about what this idea called medical inflation since I've been in the industry, which runs at 8 to 12% every year, as opposed to the CPI index running at 3% every year, notwithstanding what just happened a couple years ago. So how does that happen? Well, you've got other people in the food chain that want raises, that want health care, that have 401ks, that have other needs, that they want benefits too. People that don't deliver health care but are a part of it, like the janitor or the electrician at the hospital, or the administrator who is nothing more than a pushing paper around, but that administrator's keeping the hospital out of harm's way from a legal perspective so that they're compliant with the rules that the state or the federal government applies. All I'm saying is we need an option to be able to offer more affordable means of health care. I just saw a product yesterday, which is interesting. It's not a replacement for health insurance, but it's got office copays, urgent care copays, ER copays, X-ray lab. Where it's deficient is if you end up in the hospital, we're only going to give you $1,000 a day, and probably for a limited number of days. I don't think it has any mental health. I didn't get deep into the weeds yet with this, but that premium, Sean, to give basic coverage, office visit, telehealth, prescription, ER, emergency care, and yes, some limited hospitalization, was $120 a month. I have a client right now who's a small group. Their premium for 252-year-olds is now going to be approaching $800 a month for the fully robust, health insurance policy at their age.
$120 a month kind of makes for an interesting idea that, everybody now, I know, say that people want cheaper cable, so they want to pick their own cable channels and buy a package. But it would be an interesting exercise to see if you could create a policy like that, because, let's say you were just saying that you go to the doctor, you get telehealth, you get your prescriptions, you get this. What if you don't go to a doctor? What if you have to go to telehealth?
Mm-hmm.
And, you can't have them do certain things, but, the telehealth doctor could test for it or order analysis or whatever, and you go to the local, provider of that, and they do the biometric exam and measure your waist and do all that kind of stuff you had to do for insurance. And then, you get it down to, and then if you want hospital coverage, like you said, it'd be $1,000 a day, which would be like spitting on a wildfire. But, could you design something where someone would get into, but you know what would happen? Everybody sees that $120 a month and says, that's the one I want. And then they need the coverage, and then they're ruined financially.
Yes, so you're not wrong about that, and that's why the short-term medical plans in this state, Sean, have been kiboshed, because agents were selling them like an alternative to permanent coverage. Yeah. To me, those agents should lose their license. There should not be a slap on the wrist, don't do this again or else. They should be out. Because they make the rest of the world more difficult for those of us who are trying to do the right thing. So, and the other part is, maybe I'm different, but I pay attention to contract language, and you're exactly right. You're going to have scumbuckets out there selling these things like hotcakes, and people are going to key in on the premium, not what's inside the policy. And so it's key to make sure maybe they have to sign a disclaimer that says, I understand that, just like when you're signing a mortgage or a car note or something like this, you're signing all these documents. I understand that if I end up in the hospital, I'm only covered for $1,000 a day up to 10 days. understand that. And then maybe there are other programs that you can buy onto for a few extra dollars to cover an accident or hospital indemnity, like a Aflac thing or Duck thing or whatever, to cover some of the holes. But at least it's an alternative for people that otherwise don't have anything. And that's what I'm looking at. There's a lot of people that have dropped out because the premiums have just gotten to be stupid money. And the insurance companies, for all the good things that they do, they're not in the charity business. If a hospital comes to me and says, I need a 70% increase in my per diems, that's got to come from somewhere. Sure. And that being said, it's 7 o'clock, Sean. We got to go. So, folks, this is the beginning. Maybe Sean and I can have a conflab over the next couple of weeks, and we can figure out some answers. And if we're lucky enough to get some answers, maybe we'll have our own island in the Caribbean somewhere. Who knows? So, with that in mind, Sean, thanks for joining me. Tell Kelly I said hi. We'll be talking. This is your Insurance Corner at 101.5 FM WLCB Slade's Corner. Have a great night, everybody. See you next week.